Without leads, you don't have a business. So I'm going to show you the 8 ways that you can get leads for your agency, or more particularly your AI agency. There's kind of 8 ways that I've found are the best ways. And if they're not in this, then the odds are they're probably not best to start off with. So I'm making this video for people who are in that beginning stage with maybe no clients or in that first kind of 10K region. This is how I would go about getting clients if I was to start over again. Some disclaimers before we get into this. I'm going to give you a couple of methods to get clients. Trying 10 methods at the same time, or the 8 methods that I mentioned in this, is obviously not going to work. You kind of have to master 1 or 2 of them. Switching every 2 weeks, again, it's not going to work. You have to stick with it and keep going. No follow-up system, that again doesn't work. You have to follow up with clients. The majority of my signings come from like the 3rd or 4th follow-up. So if you're setting up a cold email campaign, if you're sending LinkedIn DMs, it doesn't matter what you're doing, following up is what's going to get you them sales. And then lastly, coming off real salesy, again, it's not going to work. You have to think about, in this agency game, there's thousands of people that are probably thinking of doing the same thing that you're going to do, or that have been there before. So the leads you're reaching out to, you have to remember they have already probably been reached out to before by an agency like yours or similar to yours. So what you need to do, pick one method, commit for 3 to 6 weeks, track everything. If you don't track it, you can't measure it. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And then provide value first. Okay, so starting off with probably the easiest one that you can get into, and you can see here all of these methods have a color code. And so you can see here we have a light green, we have a dark green, we have yellow, and we have red. And that is based on this. So we have most effective, effective, not as effective, or useless. In an effective kind of bracket, we have freelancer platforms. So you have platforms like Fiverr and Upwork where you can post like a listing where you can show people what you can do. So for example, for me, if I was to start out again, I would go onto Fiverr and I'd go into Upwork and I would post myself as an authority in the AI automation space. Now in this, I would obviously make my profile nice. I would add in videos, and I would try and provide a little bit more professionalism than everybody else on that platform, because you're going to have probably a couple of hundred, if not tens of people on that platform which are probably trying to do the same thing. So what I would do is I would try and polish my profile a little bit more so I could look better than most of them. This option would be best for beginners. You're looking for a quick win, you're looking to get your first quick maybe 5-6 clients. And it's also great for building reviews. After you finish, or after you've completed a project for somebody on Upwork, Upwork will go through the process of getting a review off them for you, and these are great when you're reaching out to future prospects. Tools that you may need for this is Fiverr Pro. It's just an upgraded version. It's not necessary. A portfolio showcase, like I said, make your portfolio or your listing polished, so people know that you're professional. And then analytics track it, so you can see kind of how many people are coming in on a daily basis. If you are getting any leads, I wouldn't expect this to work straight away, but I would definitely stick at this because it doesn't require anything. You just have to post one listing and that's it. You can get clients from there. Now, difficulty is a 2-star, which is quite low. It's not that hard. You just have to post on Fiverr or Upwork. And I would say the time to get results would be 1 to 4 weeks before you get your first client on that. Now that's providing that your profile is clean, it's neat. I would say in about 1 to 4 weeks you could potentially land a client. And then obviously the investment is 0, so it's a great one for starters. Secondly, then we have content and personal branding. Now I would say this is the most effective one that I would focus my most amount of time on. The reason it's so good is because you can start it at the very beginning of your journey or of your agency, and it will be something that will provide longevity and something that you will do like 2 years from now when your agency is at maybe 100k, 200k a month. This is something that you will still have to do, so it's best you start this now. Additionally, inbound leads, which you will most likely get from content and personal brandings, are the easiest leads to close because they already know who you are. So it's like they're reaching out to a friend or they're reaching out to somebody they know. It becomes a lot easier for you to close them because they essentially already know what you do. In other cases, like you can see over here in direct outreach, it's a lot harder to close them because they're a completely cold stranger, and you're reaching out to them to try and maybe book them in for a call or for a demo, and it becomes a lot harder. So the second option is content and personal branding. Now that can be YouTube, it can be LinkedIn content, it can be Twitter content, or even Medium articles. These are great for building that authority in your space. It's also great for long-term growth and trust development. Now, another reason why posting on all four of these platforms is good is because they build the two things that are most crucial to getting clients, which is trust and authority. If they're able to trust you and they believe that you're a leader in the space or you have authority in the space, then going your way or reaching out to you to do a job for them is going to be a lot easier for them, because they can see you know what you're talking about because you're doing all of the technical work in the videos that you're showing them. And secondly, they trust you because you're posting on LinkedIn. They've built kind of a one-way connection with you where they're watching all of your videos and they know who you are. So this kind of brings everything into one and becomes a lead converting machine. For me, LinkedIn content and YouTube content has by far been the best way that I've been able to sign clients, and quite frankly the quickest way to close these clients. Tools you can use to make this whole process a little bit easier and quicker is TubeBuddy or vidIQ. This would be for YouTube, helps you kind of control and track analytics. You have Buffer and Hootsuite, which is another LinkedIn kind of content helper, and then you have Canva, which is a designing tool that you can use to create your content also. Now, on these platforms, I would post a mix of everything. So on my YouTube, I would probably post a mix of content being one specific to the niche I'm in, and then one being kind of general content that kind of brings in a larger amount of leads. Because if we just only post niche specific content, then our content is only going to go as far as that niche. If we post every now and then some content which is very broad, that might appeal to a broader range of audience, then we get a wider top end of the funnel, which brings in a lot more leads, and then we can funnel them down into our niche specific content. On LinkedIn, I would post a mix of text and video. So I would probably do maybe 2 or 3 videos a week and then mix in some text posts as well, giving free value. Twitter and Medium, I'll do the same as LinkedIn. The difficulty, this one is a little bit more difficult. One, because it's more of a slow burner, so it takes a little bit more time to develop a personal brand. But I think the reward at the end of it is a non-negotiable of something that you have to do when you start your agency. The time results, again, a little bit longer, 3 to 6 months, but it's good because the investment is essentially zero. It doesn't really cost you anything to build a personal brand. Then we have, thirdly here, we have direct outreach, which is another crucial part of your agency, which you will most likely do for a long time to come, especially if you stay in your agency. So you have direct outreach being warm outreach, and that would be to kind of people that you know, maybe your parents, friends, or people that you kind of know that are in your niche. You might know a real estate agent, you might know a home service, you might know a personal trainer. And you'll reach out to these people and you'll say maybe, hey, I can build an AI automation for you. I can do it at maybe free of cost or a lot more reduced than I would charge a normal client. And when you're doing this, when you start out, the main goal is just to get time under your belt. It's really just so you can develop the skills you need to actually build these automations or whatever you're doing with your agency. It might sound counterintuitive to build these things for free, but the value that you're going to get out of this, from one, learning actually how to build AI automations, and secondly, being able to have references and future on when you're reaching out to people to be able to say, I've worked with this guy, that's invaluable for you, and it's going to bring you a lot more value than you actually think. So I would do my first 1 or 2 clients for free, just so I can get that time under my belt. I can get some referrals, I can get some testimonials off them people, and it's going to help you it's going to take you a long way. You also have LinkedIn DMs, which again is very, very strong. You're able to reach out to people on LinkedIn. The majority of people on LinkedIn will have some sort of business or will work in a business, and you can directly target your niche. So if you go over to LinkedIn and you go up to the search bar, you can type in real estate agents London, and it will bring you up a bunch of real estate agents in London which you can target. Another one is called email. I probably wouldn't start with this one because this is more for scale, but this is a great one for that job being scale, because we can send mass amount of emails to our niche or to our leads that we have, and we can convert people from there, and it requires little to no work once you have good email copy. You also have cold calling. Now, I was debating as putting this one in the dark green being the better option, the more effective one, but I haven't because just how difficult it is, and it's not really scalable. But this is one of the most effective ways, probably the most effective out of this bunch, or on par with warm outreach. Warm outreach is really good because you already know the people, and sometimes people will just help you out and let you do some AI automations because you know them or whatever agency you're doing. Cold calling is up there being as more, it's up there with the effectiveness because cold calling is like a dying sport. Not a lot of people do this. So if you're able to stand out and not send a bunch of DMs that most business owners will receive hundreds of times a day, if you're actually able to call them, your closing rate is going to be a lot higher. Then you have Twitter cold DMs, which is an option, but I probably would stay away from that because I don't think many people are going to be answering their Twitter DMs. Now, these are best for fast results. They're scalable lead gen, and they have immediate action, so you can start them immediately today or tomorrow or whenever. Some tools you have is Instantly. This is great for your cold DMs. You have Dripify. This basically automates the LinkedIn DMing for you. You have Apollo, which will get you leads. So if you go onto Apollo, you'll be able to search up a bunch of leads and you'll be able to extract them. You can put them into a cold email sequence, or you can put them into, or you can scrape their LinkedIn and you can LinkedIn DM them or whatnot. Then you have Hunter.io and you have Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator just makes it a little bit more easier to scrape leads and find the specific leads that you're actually looking for. Now, the difficulty of this is, again, 3 stars because it requires a lot of manual work at the start, but it's a lot more instant and it requires a lot faster results. As you can see there, the time to results can be 1 to 8 weeks, just depending on the volume that you're doing. So if you really wanted a lot of results, then I would just spend all day just outreaching to people, sending LinkedIn DMs, sending cold emails, cold calling people. And I would say if you spent your first 2 to 3 weeks, every single day, cold email, LinkedIn DMs, and cold calling, you are nearly guaranteed going to sign your first client. That there's no doubt about that. If you just do enough numbers and enough volume, I have no doubt that you won't be able to sign somebody. Then our next option over here is paid advertising. This is probably a little later down the line of your time in your agency, or when you're able to close a few more clients, because this requires a little bit more revenue and a little bit more capital to be able to invest into these ads. I'm sure we all know what Google ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, Meta ads. We all know what these are. We've all come across them, and these are pretty self-explaining. You can scale them by just adding more money into your ad account. It does require more experienced people. It requires experienced people in ads, but they are great for a consistent lead flow because you can kind of gauge, if I put maybe 1,000 a week into this ad campaign, I'm going to get roughly 10 to 15 closed clients. And this is very measurable and scalable because you know if I maybe double this, then I'm going to double the clients, and so on. So it's a lot more scalable and it's a lot more measurable, and it's probably something you might do a little later down the line when you're after closing maybe your first few clients, but it's a great option to choose. And we currently don't do this at the moment because of how kind of complex it is to get our message across in just a simple ad campaign, but if you have the right product, this is a great option. The difficulty, this is a 5-star difficulty because you need a lot of expertise in this. But again, great option, and the investment is actually a little bit higher. It might cost you maybe 1,000 a month or even more to get these ad campaigns up and running at a decent amount of volume. Then over here we have community and networking. So you have school communities, you have Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, referrals, and so on. These are great options. As you can see here, referral is indeed very effective because when you work with a client and they refer you another client, chances of you signing them is quite high because the person that they refer you is obviously a friend of them and they know that your product works. So when you start getting clients, it's kind of like a chain effect where you get your first client, you ask him for a referral, he refers you somebody, you sign them, and again, they ask for a referral. So it becomes a chain effect, and this is very, very effective for consistently signing clients. You have other stuff like LinkedIn groups, you have Facebook groups. These were at some stage very, very good. They're now extremely saturated because they're just full of agency owners looking to do the same thing as you. What I really mean by these groups is, I mean by going onto LinkedIn, finding real estate groups, getting into them, and then like outreaching to the members or posting free value in the group. But I'm sure if you've ever done this, you know as soon as you go into them groups, all you're going to see is marketers and all sorts of agencies posting. So it's a little bit saturated now, but it's still definitely an option, but I would probably stay away from this one. Skill communities, these are great. You have communities like Lee Motley's skill community, where if you go into that, there's just thousands of people that are, one, looking for people to do jobs for them, like AI automation jobs, and two, there is loads of developers which are looking to do jobs. So whatever kind of side you're on, if you're the person that's getting clients and you need developers, then you can go there and you can hire developers. Or if you're a developer and you're looking for clients, you can also go there. There's a bunch of people in that group and you can really use that to your advantage. Again, on Skill, you can kind of target your niche. So Skill is a little less saturated than Facebook groups. If you go onto Skill and let's say you are targeting solar panelists, you might go onto Skill and look up solar panelists and get into them groups, and you might be able to work your way around in them groups and try and build yourself up and provide some value and build credibility in them groups. These are going to be a lot less saturated than Facebook and LinkedIn. So that's a great option. It's skill communities and referrals. The difficulty of this is like a 3-star like the other ones, and then your time to results is probably 2 to 6 months. Be a referral, kind of depending how quick you're able to sign your first client and get a referral, that could be a couple of weeks, but I would imagine it's in the range of about 2 to 6 months. Then we have in-person events, expos, all of these type of things. Expos and events, these are really good because they're in person and people get to build a genuine connection or relationship with you, which is better for you in the long run. Walk-ins, again, extremely effective because you're building that real relationship in person, in front of the person, so they're a lot more likely to listen to what you have to say and maybe view any demos. But again, this is quite daunting to anybody that's starting out because walking directly into a business is scary for the best of people. So if you're able to kind of build up the courage to go and do this, well, you are going to fast forward the track of signing your first client. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't do this, but I do know somebody who did do this, and they were signing clients on multiples quicker than I was. So I kind of regret not doing this because I would have been in a way further position. So if I was you, I would walk into businesses, especially if they're in the niche that you're targeting, and just try and show them the automations that you have set up or what you're doing in general in the AI space, and even try and sign them into your service. These are best for kind of high impact. Walking in and events are going to be really beneficial and really efficient to signing clients. Walk-ins, again, great if you're targeting more local businesses where they have kind of a local office, and there's a lot of dense lead generation in events. And if you go to like a specific event, let's say your niche is real estate and you go to a real estate event, you're just going to have a bunch of real estate agents, really dense group of leads that you can just continue to converse with and try and build a relationship from there. You can use apps like Eventbrite to find events and stuff like that, and then you can use Google Maps to find businesses to do walk-ins. And then obviously I would probably bring a business card or some sort of thing that I can bring into a business, so I can leave my contact information with them. Again, this difficulty level is quite high. It's a 4 just because I know it's quite daunting to people to be even going to events and to kind of chat back and forth with people. It's not an easy thing to do, so that's why the difficulty level is high. But the good thing about this is the time to result is basically immediately. Like as soon as you walk into a business, if you walked into 10 businesses today, the odds of you signing one of them is highly, highly likely, and it costs you nothing. The investment is basically is zero. Then we have charities and non-profits. These are great ones again when you're trying to get them first few clients, maybe one or two of your first clients that are free, because charities are not the business owner. Now, there's a difference when I say they're not the business owner, because when you are targeting a business owner, you're targeting a real business. They have to take into consideration that if this doesn't work, then I'm going to lose money. So it's kind of, they're going to be on the back foot a little bit more, or they're going to be a little bit more skeptical of your services because it's real money. It's their actual money that they're investing into it. With charities, it's not really their money, so they're a little less skeptical because they're not really losing their money. So it becomes a little bit easier. And then when you're able to say to them, look, I build this whole AI automation out for you for free as you're a charity and you're a non-profit organization, I'll donate my services or build it out for free. A lot of charities will agree to that, and that's why this is in the really effective dark green section, because this is kind of a cheat code, and it's a little bit of a little bit of a backdoor into getting clients. So if you're able to find charities and non-profits, they're great for getting them testimonials, building up a portfolio of clients, and you can do a couple of them for free or even charge them, but it is good to do a couple of these for free because it will gain you that experience and gain you them testimonials for when you want to target clients for paid plans or paid partnerships. Some tools you can use is Charity Navigator, GuideStar, Volunteer Match, even LinkedIn search to find non-profits and charities is a great idea. Difficulty quite low, it's only a 2-star. You're reaching out to people, the non-profits and charities, so their barrier, their wall is kind of already down. There's not much that you have to do to make them trust you or to make them go back and forth and engage with you. Time to results, probably 2 to 4 weeks. And then your investment is mainly time. It's just reaching out to them and doing that whole back and forth. Then you have webinars. Webinars are basically live calls where you try and get as many leads as possible onto that call. So you can, do a little bit of giving away value kind of at the start, so they don't feel like they've completely wasted their time. But a lot of the webinar is you trying to sell them or you kind of leading them further down. Like if this is your funnel, you're leading them further down the funnel kind of towards the end section. So webinars are great, and live training events. So you can post on LinkedIn, hey, let's say you're targeting personal trainers, you can post on LinkedIn and you can say stuff like, I'm hosting a free live training today teaching personal trainers how they can use AI. And this is a great way to get a bunch of leads or a bunch of kind of warm up these leads. While they're getting free value off you, they're thinking, okay, this is the guy I'm going to go for if I want to do anything with AI. And again, you have their information, so you can target them maybe after the call or after the live training and say, hey, thanks for being in the call. Have you thought of maybe implementing any of these solutions into your business? It's a great intuitive way to get clients, this method. So I would definitely consider this one when you're trying to pick your ways to get clients. So these are best for high value clients, for authority building. If you want to charge premium pricing, this kind of leads them down the funnel, like I said. And you are also demonstrating your expertise. So you're kind of building that trust and expertise facet of lead generation. Tools, again, just Zoom, webinars, ClickFunnels, Stripe if you want to charge micropayments. So for a lot of these webinars, you might charge them maybe $5-10 just to join. And that's why you would use Stripe for the micropayments. And the reason why you would charge them is it kind of entices them more to actually join the webinar. When it's free, a lot of people are going to drop off because it's free. They haven't invested anything into it. When you charge them like a micropayment, it makes them want to join it more. The difficulty of this is high because you're live on call and you have to really demonstrate real expertise. There's no real faking it or working your way around it. You have to really know what you're talking about, which is quite difficult. It comes with experience. And then your time to results can be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. This is probably on the later end. A lot of these you can sign the clients like directly after the call or directly after the webinar, which is good. Time investment is quite low. It's not the highest. Maybe some small miscellaneous cost, maybe $10-15 or something. But if you have the micropayments in place, then you'll be able to kind of counteract that. I would not charge micropayments if your industry isn't really, if your industry doesn't have a lot of money. So if you're kind of charging local businesses or home services, then I probably wouldn't charge micropayments. But that's everything for this video. I'm going to leave a link, the first link in the description, where you can join my community if you want to learn more and jump on free live calls with me. But make sure you leave a like.